Hi all and welcome back to Lena Vibes. We have reached 10 subscribers, so celebration effects here. I was gonna throw an ironic party once we reached 10, but then I was busy when we reached 10 and I didn't do it, so I'm sorry. But congrats to us for making it to 10. I just thought it would be funny if I had like a little party hat and a cake that said like 10, but then I didn't do it, okay? But just imagine if I did, because that would have been funny. I read 4 books, April through May. I've been really busy because it was the end of school. I'm a teacher, so I was trying to finish up all that. I would have to say that these past 2 months of reading have been a struggle. I would probably say the past like 5 months of reading have been a struggle. The last 4 books I've read have not been good. They're just not as good. No offense to the authors, but we're about to get into it, and I just need y'all to know that there will be spoilers in this. I would not recommend any of these books, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you why I don't like them and why I wouldn't read them again. Let's jump into it. Okay, so the first book I read was A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Now, this is part of her series of the ACOTAR, and I really enjoyed A Court of Thorn and Roses, A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin. Loved those 3 books. This one, not so much. I don't even remember what I rated it. I have it on Goodreads. I think I gave it like 2.5 stars. Which is not good. It's not good, Sarah. Listen, I understand. I feel like the first 3 books were more like young adult, maybe. And then whenever she got into this book, it was like fully adult. And I was not ready. I will have to say, this is probably the biggest book I've ever read. It's 757 pages. Now, I did audiobook this, so that, honestly, it did feel this long. Well, I think audiobook, it was like 23 hours or something like that. And normal, like most audiobooks I listen to are like 8 hours to 10 hours, something in that range. And this was like almost a day. I didn't like it. And the reason why is because 30%, maybe like this much of the book, was plot. And this much of the book was smut. And I don't like that, okay? It is baffling to me because I was listening to an audiobook and there would be so many scenes that I would be skipping. And so like I was listening to it and then a scene started and I think I skipped. I literally had my phone and I was like skip, like probably 30 times. And I was like, there's no way it's still happening, right? So then I like paused and I waited and I was listening. Still happening. I skipped again like 30 more times. That's how long the scenes were, and it was ridiculous. I do not recommend this book to anyone. It was obnoxious. It was obnoxious. You're following Nesta, and she's not my favorite character by any means. She's probably my least favorite character, honestly, in the whole series. I don't like her. I didn't like her attitude. I don't like how she acts like she's better than everybody. And I understand, like, at the end of A Court of Wings and Ruin, I was like, maybe there's, like, a character arc for her. You know, like, maybe she'll get better. Maybe, because, like, you see this soft side of her at the end of the book, and you're like, oh, like, she cares about people and stuff. And then in A Court of Frost and Starlight, she's kind of garbage again. And then in this one, she's garbage again. She's garbage like through most of the book until at the very end, she's like, I'm just miserable and I hate my life and this is why I treat everybody. Blah, blah, blah. I just hate it, okay? I didn't like this book. I would not recommend it to anyone. I would sell it if it wasn't in my box set. That's sad. I just don't like it. I didn't like anything about it. And I'm sure some people are going to come for me because I know this book is loved by so many. But I don't see how you can say this is 5 stars when you read the first 3 books that are 5 stars. And then the last 2 are just not good. They're just not good. They didn't do it for me. I was annoyed with the amount of scenes, and the stupid love story made me mad. And really, it's just all about Nesta throwing her life away to men and alcohol and trying to bury her feelings and all of these things, and it just made me mad, honestly. It made me mad. I didn't feel like I related to her at all. I didn't like the main character. I didn't care about her. So I'm sorry, Sarah J. Maas, and I'm sorry to everybody who likes this book. Please do not come for me. I don't like romance stories, okay? I really liked the first 3 books, which is surprising to me because I don't like romance, but I really liked those 3 books. They were so good. Just something about this story in particular I didn't like. Now, I feel like if she does another book with like maybe a branch off of like Elaine, I would probably like that one because Elaine was more, I don't know, she's just a better character overall. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of this one. 2.5 stars. I'm really sorry, Sarah J. Maas. I love you everywhere else, just not this book. That was the first book that I read in April. That was not a good way to start off my avalanche of bad books. Now listen, this next book has really great ratings, really good reviews, and it might just be me because I was really busy and I had to like audiobook it, and I don't always like to audiobook thrillers, but it wasn't a good read for me. And the second book was First Line Wins. Now I did this in the TBR jar where I pulled one and I was like, oh, I'm gonna read these books, blah blah blah. A lot of people like this, and I thought I would because it's based in Louisiana and I'm from Louisiana, and so there was a lot of like things that she wrote in the book that made me be like, wow, that's like where I live. You know, it's like she talks about the roads and like what road leads to Mississippi and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, yeah, I've been down that road. It was too confusing. And it's like she is a spy, I think. She's working for this guy where she has to like go and do things for him. And she can't get attached to the families and stuff. Like she just has to go in and basically like steal money and do stuff like that. And she meets this guy and she's like doing a job, and I can't even tell you a good synopsis of this book because there was so many interweaving timelines that it confused me so bad. I was like, what is happening right now? Who is that guy? What is happening? What year are we in? Is this before or after you met him? And it didn't make any sense to me. I was really confused the whole time. A lot of people like this book, and it might just be because I didn't sit down with it and read it like in front of me. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more. Because None of This Is True is kind of like that, where the timelines were going back and forward in different points of view. This book was just one person's point of view, but going back and forth really confused me. It just wasn't a good read for me. And it might just be because I could not pay attention, but it was just confusing. And other Goodreads reviews kind of had similar thoughts on that. It was really confusing, hard to keep up with. And so for that reason, I think I gave it 3 stars. I mean, it was an okay story, but definitely I wouldn't read it again, and I probably will sell it. Didn't love it. The third book that I read was The Rosewood Hunt by Mackenzie Reed. What do I even say about this book? Firstly, let me say, Mackenzie, I know this is your debut novel, okay? I understand, and I'm not coming for her, okay? I love when people write. I love when they're doing their passion and they're getting to write whatever they want to write and whatnot. But this book wasn't good, and I didn't like it at all. I'm so sorry. The only reason I picked it up was because of the cover, and honestly, I know that's wrong. You're not supposed to do that. But it looked like it was going to be a good book, like mystery/thriller, which is what it's under, but it wasn't good. There will be spoilers, so please, if you don't want to know what happens in this book, just skip ahead. The people that put 5 stars on this book, honestly, I think that they were just giving them 5 stars because they were paid to. I don't see how anybody can give this book 5 stars. I just don't see how. It's not a very big book, and sure, it's for like young adults, maybe like teenagers. It's not a very hard book to understand or read. This book used the same descriptors all throughout it, like over and over and over again, and I felt like I was going crazy. I feel like I'm being mean, but I really don't like it, and honestly, it makes me angry that I read this book and I wasted my life because the phrase white knuckles like around the steering wheel, white knuckle grip, white knuckle, blah, blah, blah. She used that phrase I don't know how many times in this book. And it drove me literally insane. I was like, how many times are you going to use this descriptor factor? Why do you need to tell me what's happened to people's hands the whole time? You know? And it felt very much like a high schooler wrote it and they were just throwing in all these like similes and hyperboles just to like make it better, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Also, the plot was kind of dumb. You're following this girl who is entitled and thinks she deserves the world. And she's not down to earth at all. She's not humble. She acts like she deserves everything. And her grandma takes her in because her dad, I don't know if he killed himself or what happened, but he dies. And it doesn't really, I don't know if it tells you if he killed himself. But anyways, he dies. And her mom just abandons her. Right after her dad dies, her mom just leaves. Which I don't know about you guys, but when does that happen? Like ever. Like if a family is together and then all of a sudden the dad dies, why would the mom just have randomly abandoned? I have no idea. That didn't make any sense to me. And then she goes and lives with her grandma. And her grandma's this really rich lady who owns this fashion company. And the grandma dies. Okay? Now, the natural response would be, oh no, my grandma died. My life is in ruins. Like really sad. Like a really sad book. Instead, the girl in this book thought she deserves everything in the inheritance and that she's going to get everything. And then she starts her grandma leaves like these riddles and clues to like go find the money. And she tries to go find the money, and then the funeral happens, and now all of a sudden she's sad. And she's like crying at the funeral and like hugging everybody like, oh, I'm so sad. Blah, blah. I'm like, there was no emotion the first 3 days when you're looking for the money that you felt for your grandma at all. I don't know. I didn't feel emotionally connected to these people. There was another scene where she gets almost killed and she like breaks out of her house, like jumps out a window and like runs to this boy's house that she likes. And instead of calling the police because someone's trying to kill her, she just sleeps on his floor and talks about a Cheez-It under his bed. I can't express how much I hate this book. I gave it 1 star. It might not even be the worst book I've ever read. I just really, really don't like it, and I feel like the plot could have been thought out more. I feel like there were certain things that didn't make sense. Like I feel like an editor that read this book would have told the girl, please don't publish that yet. Like there's some things we need to fix. There's just too many things I didn't like about this book. And I'm sorry, Mackenzie Reed. I'm really not trying to comfort anybody. I really do like it when people write, and I think it's amazing. I would like to be a published author one day. That's my goal. But I also know that if I'm going to write a book, I would think about the story and the plot and the characters and how you have to make sure that all those characters intertwine well, because it does not make sense for a grandma to leave all these riddles and clues for her granddaughter just to find friendship at the end. Like that's what the whole story's about, is like her becoming friends with all these people, and that's what it's about, is this friendship that she makes with these random strangers that her grandma all left riddles for. I didn't like it. I'm so sorry, Mackenzie Reed. I feel really bad. I hope you don't watch this. I hope you don't watch. I'm really nice in person, I promise. I think I'm getting to the point where I've read so many books that I am like, I almost didn't finish that one. And I don't like doing that, because once I start something, I want to finish it. But when I literally started reading that one, I was like, I don't know if I can finish it. I don't know if I can. Because the descriptors and the things that were written in it made me feel like I was grading a paper. And I don't want to feel that way when I read a book, you know? When I grade a paper, I can feel like I'm grading a paper. And I can say like, this shouldn't put this here, blah, 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 blah. I want a book to take me away to another world, okay? Anyways, that was that one. The last book I read for May was Lock the Doors by Vincent Ralph. I already told you that none of these books were good, so this should not be a surprise that this book was 2 stars for me. Maybe 2.25 if I gave it anything more than that. This is about a guy a young boy, he's like in high school, I think, who moves into this new house with his mom and his stepsister and his stepdad. And he finds these things on the walls that say like, help me, and just weird things in his room. And it started out really good. I was like, wow, this is really good. But then it just became like very repetitive, you know? I feel like the book could have been half the size that it is, honestly. I don't really know what happened in the middle because I zoned out. But he meets this girl named Amy who used to live in his house. And so he starts asking like, he started trying to figure it out, okay? He started trying to figure out why there was a lock on the door. It's on like the outside of his bedroom door that was like holes that he could see, that it looked like there was a lock there. And so he starts wondering, is Amy trapped? Is she stuck inside her house? Are her parents holding her captive? Blah, 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 right? And so he starts questioning things. And the whole book is like him just trying to figure it out. Like, what's going on? You know, he even sends somebody to sneak into their house. It's pretty intense, really weird stuff like that. And then the end of the book, it switches to Amy's perspective, which tells you the backstory of what really happened in the house. The ending was interesting, I think. Basically, Amy's little brother passed away on, like, it was kind of her fault, but not really. I mean, she was taking care of him, and then he like fell into this reservoir of water and he died. And so her mom decided to go and kidnap a boy to replace the other boy. So her mom's kind of crazy. But I feel like the book could have been a lot better in the way that I think the mom could have been like more of the focus through the whole book instead of just, you know, this boy wondering what's happening. I feel like it could have been like more, I feel like we need more of the mom, you know, like to understand why she was crazy, you know, but all we got was like a little tiny bit at the end of like the mom was the whole reason the whole time. I don't know how to explain this to you guys. It just wasn't that good of a book. It could have been better. There could have been multiple routes that the author could have taken to make this book a lot better, I think. The person who narrates the book on Hoopla is British, and every time he said the word says, like she says or he says, he would say says. And every time it would just bother me for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the southern girl in me, but is that how British people say the word says? They say says? I don't know. It was weird. Anyways, this is not a book I would read again. I didn't like it. I think it could have been really good. Like, it could have been good. I just didn't like it. So, May and April and May, these were the books that I read in April and May. It doesn't feel like I read very much, but this book was really big. So I have to give myself that. And it was on my list of books that I was reading before I did the TBR jar. So that's why I had to catch up and finish that. Right now I'm reading The Cruel Prince and I'm audiobooking Icebreaker to try to get those off of my list for the TBR jar. I'm hoping I can finish by the end of June, but we'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of behind and I'm sorry about that. Like I said, I've been really busy, but the summer opens up a lot for me, so maybe I'll have more time to read. I'm also thinking about doing a first time reading Twilight series on TikTok. I'm not sure if I'm going to yet or that, but I've never read that book. So I've never even seen the movies. I think I've seen like part of one of the movies maybe. I've never seen them. So if you're interested in watching my first time reactions of reading Twilight, maybe check out my TikTok channel because I might be doing that soon. I guess that's it for me. Those are the books I read. I didn't like them. Don't read these books. I've never had a episode where I just said don't read these books, but don't read them. They're not good. Happy reading and see y'all later. Okay, bye.